Whether you've got years of experience working out or you're brand new to fitness and you're going to start a workout regimen for the very first time, and whether or not you're a guy or a girl trying to build bigger, stronger biceps, or you're just trying to lean out your arms and lose a little bit of body fat and tone those arms up, you need to see this next video on bicep training. Hey guys, Michael Lamernick here. I hope you're having a great day. Today's video is all about biceps training. And whether you're a guy or a girl and your goal is either to build bigger, bulging biceps, or you're trying to develop some shape and try to tone and sculpt and lean out your biceps, this video is going to be very informative and you're going to want to watch it. So when it comes to training your biceps, and your triceps for that matter, which I'll cover in my next video, I feel that there are three crucial points that need to be considered. The first one would be to prioritize your goals. What are your goals? Are they to build bigger, thicker, stronger biceps? Or maybe your goals are to tone your biceps and make them leaner and have a little bit more shape and contour to them. Your second point here would be exercise sequence, and that's largely going to depend on what your initial goals are. The third point, in my opinion, is the most important one: most common mistakes. And I can say in my 20 years working in the fitness industry and seeing countless clients, I can tell you the biggest mistake people make is with what they're doing with their hands and their wrists when they're holding either a dumbbell or barbell or doing any kind of a curling motion. Same thing goes for triceps. All right, so let's go to the video and let's look at biceps training. So for this video, we're going to start with training your biceps with the goal in mind of building size and mass and strength. And in my opinion, there is no better exercise. It is the most important exercise for building strength and size, and it starts with the standing barbell curl. So I've got my 7-foot barbell curl here with 20 pounds on here, so 65-pound bar. It's lightweight. And I'm just going to do a quick demonstration. So hand placement here, we're going to go about 2 inches outside the width of my hips. That brings me just inside these little coils, the lines right here, about 1 inch inside there. I'm going to take a really strong grip. Okay, grip is something that I'm going to talk about in depth a little bit later in this video, what we do with our hands and our wrists. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to do a strict curl with no cheating. This is good isolation for the biceps, but here we go. Standing barbell curl. We go up. I'm going to get a little bit of a pause at the top. Okay, I'm trying to stand nice and tall. I'm keeping my wrists locked. Okay, and I'm trying to slow down on the way down. So fighting it a little bit on the way down, that's the negative. We come up, curl, pause, down steady, keeping the chest up nice and high. And that's your basic standing barbell curl. This is the best exercise for training for mass. So I want to say one thing about the standing barbell curl. If anybody is going through arthritis or tendonitis, we can have tendonitis in the elbows, arthritis in the elbows or the wrists or the hands, the knuckles even, the standing barbell might be a little bit painful, it might be an awkward exercise, and it's probably not for you. Only because the barbell forces our hands in this locked palms up position because it's a straight bar. So your next best bet would be to go to what I call the easy curl bar, where we've got a bend in the bar. I don't know if we can see that here if we tilt the camera down. So we've got a bend in the bar, and what it is just a little bit more accommodating for our wrist. Instead of having our hands rotated, supinated up like this, our hands would be in this position. It's the same exercise. I'll do a couple of reps here. Okay, so standing barbell curl, I'm going to put my hands in my bend of the bar. It's the same thing. Okay, I got to keep a nice strong grip. Abs are tight. We curl it up, and we resist on the way down. We curl it up, resist on the way down. Okay, so that's an easy curl bar. So my personal preference, if you can do it, no issues with your elbows and your wrists and your hands, I would do a standing barbell curl. It's the best exercise for your biceps for size and strength. From there, easy curl bar. A lot of people might still have a problem with the easy curl bar because your hands are in this fixed position. So from there, what I would do was give somebody a couple of dumbbells, do the exact same exercise. So we walk over to my dumbbell rack, pick up a couple of dumbbells, and we mimic the standing barbell curl with a couple of dumbbells. It's the same thing. Palms are up, abs are tight, Keep the chest up nice and high. Get a nice little pause at the top and resist. So the advantage of working with dumbbells is that you have a lot more freedom to do, have more movement with your hands and your wrists instead of always being in a locked position, which a barbell will do. Another fantastic exercise for increasing your strength of your biceps and for building size is the reverse grip underhand chin-up. I'll say this though, if you're going to do a barbell curl, the first exercise, and that's what I would recommend as your first exercise, if we do that, number one, in your bicep workout, I wouldn't recommend doing this exercise in the same workout. Chin-ups are generally included in a back day, on a back workout. That's how I personally do it for my own training, and I build most of my clients' programs with chin-ups done on a back workout. But for this video, I do want to show this because it is a really good mass builder, strength builder for your biceps. There's a slight little alteration in technique though. So we take an underhand grip, and the way we do this, we want to transfer as much stress from our lats, from our back, and channel it into our biceps. And what you're going to do here, when we do a chin up, we want to try to keep the chest up and the back arched. What we're going to do, once I get to about halfway up, I'm going to try to pull my face and my chin into my wrists and kind of induce a little bit more of a bicep curling action. So it's a lot harder because you're working with your body weight. So I'll just do a couple of reps just to show you how this is going to look. All right, so I'm here. Now I'm going to try to curl up using a little bit more biceps by trying to curl myself into my hands. Okay, I'm going to come down, not all the way. I'm going to come back up and squeeze. And there's a lot of biceps involved with this. I just wanted to show that, but it's not going to be included in this particular mass training program. So as a second exercise in a bicep routine with the objective of training for size and mass, making your biceps bigger, you want to include one exercise that permits a maximal stretch. And I'm going to say almost a forced stretch done safely, and that's what a preacher bench will do. So your biceps, your arms are placed over top of the bench. Because of the bench, the biceps are forced to get a maximal stretch on your biceps here while we're curling. So I'm going to do a couple of reps. Now I have a cable curl, a cable preacher curl here. Most gyms will have some variation of a preacher curl. It can be done with a free bar, easy curl bar. You can do it with dumbbells, but it's all a preacher curl. But anyway, I'll just show you how this works. So I'm going to grab my cable, my bar. Same thing here. I'm going to take a nice strong grip. I'm going to lock my wrists, and all we do is we curl up and pause. We come down, we curl up and pause. And that's your standard preacher curl. So you can kind of see I'm getting a really good contraction of the bicep at the top. I lower it slow, and I'm stretching out the belly of the muscle at the bottom. And that's your preacher curl. This is a great second exercise in my opinion. Okay, so what we're going to do next here is called an incline dumbbell curl, a two-arm dumbbell curl done on an incline. You can see my bench behind me has an incline on it. So like the preacher curl, or any variation of a preacher curl, this exercise puts a great deal of stretch on your biceps at the bottom of the movement because of the angle that you're leaning back on. So what you do here is you're going to lean back on that incline. You can see the hands and the weights want to travel backward. So the biceps get this nice stretch at the bottom. And again, this is a great exercise for building mass, okay? So at the bottom, my hands should be roughly in line with my shoulders. I'm trying to keep my chest high and arched, okay? We're gonna come up, pause, but chest high at the top, and we're gonna come all the way back down. Chest high, get a pause, all the way back down. We get a nice stretch at the bottom. I'm keeping a nice strong grip on the dumbbells at all times. My wrists are locked. Wrists are locked. And this is your incline dumbbell curl. So for training for mass as a third and final exercise, and I would recommend doing 3 exercises for your biceps for training for mass, would be an exercise that accentuates the peak contraction of your bicep at the end, where we're trying to peak the muscle, and that's going to create the height of the bicep. So we get like a higher bicep. Okay, that's a kind of important component in trying to develop the overall size of your bicep muscle. Okay, so most people have seen this exercise. This is your standard concentration curl done with a dumbbell in a seated position. So what we do here is we sit on any bench. Okay, you can do this on a chair in your basement. You just need something to sit on. And what we do is we take our elbow and we anchor it in against our inner thigh inside the knee. We grab your dumbbell, and again, the leg acts as a brace, okay? So we want to make sure that that leg is not moving and that the shoulder and that the hand are 90 degrees at the bottom. So from here, we curl right up and pause. Okay, we come all the way down under control, all the way up, and pause. And I don't know if you can tell, if the camera can pick this up, at the very top here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to turn the dumbbell a little bit. I'm trying to turn this pinky upward to the ceiling so that the thumb is lower, my pinky is higher at the top. So what we do there is we call this peaking the bicep. Now, the funny thing with this is if you take the dumbbell out of your hand and just try this movement, and you curl up and try to turn your hand a little bit, that will force your bicep to contract a little bit harder, and right there you'll develop a little bit better peaking of the muscle, cramping of the bicep. So this is the seated variation, the more traditional way of doing a concentration curl. My favorite way of doing a concentration curl is called the standing bent over version, and it's just that. So what we do is you can brace yourself on a bench, or you can lean right over. I would typically brace myself. And what we do is we take away the brace of the leg. So we take the dumbbell, we're leaning over. Now the arm is in midair. This is a harder way of doing this exercise, but in my opinion, and in the opinion of Arnold Schwarzenegger, this was his favorite exercise for peaking his biceps. He did something right for developing size. We curl the weight up. Now the tricky thing with this is you've got no brace for your elbow. So you have to anchor that arm and elbow in midair. It's harder. And I find this is a better exercise. And I'm trying to keep a nice, strong, locked wrist, and I'm trying to curl and trying to rotate that pinky up again to get that top peak contraction. And that is your standing, bent over concentration curl. So we covered the exercises that I feel are done best for mass and size. Now we'll go a little bit into how I would recommend going into training for shape or toning your arms or sculpting. And I'm going to say that it's actually pretty simple. All the exercises that we did and I showed you for training for size and mass, you can use any combination of them for training for shape and definition and toning up the muscle. The difference is really your rep range and again your nutrition and diet. So one little thing I want to show you here is a standing cable curl. So the difference between a standing cable curl versus a standing barbell curl, when you're working with a cable, the resistance is exactly the same 100% of the time through the curl. So because we're attached to a pulley, the force is always down and a little bit in front of us. Our arms are under this constant tension. When we're doing a barbell curl or a dumbbell curl, the weight is easiest here, hardest here in the midpoint, and then it gets easy again as we come close to our body. It makes more sense. The further away the weight is, the harder it is. Not so true with a cable. There's always constant tension. So for training for shape and definition and trying to tone up the muscles, working with cables is actually a really good go-to. So I'll just do a standing cable curl here. Works the same way as your barbell curl. Okay, so there's tension right off the bat there, and there's tension all the way through the curl from top to bottom. Okay, so this is your standing cable curl. All right, I'm standing up tall, my wrists are locked, keeping the chest high. And again, the main difference in training for size and mass would be I would keep your reps a little bit higher up. And actually, I didn't really touch on that as far as the training for mass goes. If you're training to build bigger biceps, you want to keep your rep range in 6 to 10 reps. You could even go heavier and below that on a standing barbell curl. For training for shape and definition, anything north of 15 reps would be really good. So just to recap, we covered point number 1 was prioritize your goals. Point number 2, exercise sequence. The third point is most common mistakes. And I can tell you in my 20 years as a trainer, this is probably the most common error people make in training anything to do with their biceps or their triceps, and it's what we're doing with our hands and our wrists, or what we're not doing with our hands and our wrists properly. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration with a couple of dumbbells. Okay, I'll grab one dumbbell here. So we do a curl, and the hand is loose. We've got a limp, loose grip. So, you know, once we're starting to strain, the hand starts dancing, the wrist starts flopping around. So we can see this with a barbell too. If someone was using a barbell and they're doing a barbell curl, sometimes we'll see this. The wrists start hanging, the hands hanging, and we got too much movement here. So when we do any exercise for our arms, biceps or triceps, we want to keep our wrist really locked. If you think about it, if your hand is firm on the bar, okay, your wrist is locked, whatever weight you have in your hand, all that stress is going to channel through your forearm, and it's going to go right into the working muscle, into the bicep. Okay, if this is loose and collapse, right, it's hard to kind of send that resistance into the working muscle. So always have a strong grip. So that is the most common mistake. Now I want to touch on one other common mistake, and this might not be well received by a lot of people, but this is the honest to God truth. Whatever your goal is for your arm training or any other body part, whatever is your fitness goals, people just do not train hard enough to yield the results that they're trying to achieve. Okay, so if the intensity is not there, it doesn't matter what kind of exercise you're doing, what you're doing, what the sequence is. The intensity has to be there. And if you're not sure, you know, if you're working hard enough, consult a professional personal trainer, a fitness coach. Call me, send me a message, an email. I'm here to help. So that's going to conclude my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found this informative. Stay tuned because my next video is going to be, I'm going to be covering tricep training. It'll be a lot like this, but for the triceps. Don't forget to leave some comments, and please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss one. Have a great day and train hard.